there, guys and gals. Welcome back to Back Pocket Game Reviews. I know it's been a very long time since I've made a video. Yes, hi, Willow. In case you didn't know, I have two wiener dogs now. This one's Willow. We're going to talk a little bit about the Switch 2 and part of how I feel about the Switch 2. So, for those of you who are aware, I'm a huge Nintendo fan. I've been a huge Nintendo fan for a very long time, right? Obviously. Had an NES, had an SNES, had literally almost every Nintendo console growing up. The only one I never owned was a Virtual Boy, and my cousin had one. Got to play it. Really wasn't enough games to justify wanting to own one, right? So Switch 2 announced the price point. Price point on the console is $450, $500. I'm not appalled at the console price point outright. Because, like, I get it. Inflation happens. Switch released at, what, $250, $300 for the cost of a Switch, if I remember correctly. So I get things go up in price. This is a more powerful console, more higher-end technology. However, that's really not... Nintendo's never released a console at that kind of a price point. They've all been below the $400 marker. And that $450, $500 seems really steep when you take into account that it's graphically comparable to like a PS4. And then when it's in handheld mode, you don't have an OLED, and it's not running in 4K in handheld mode. It's running in 1080 in handheld mode, which I'm fine with. I understand the battery life would be trash if it were running in 4K in handheld mode. But then you have the other issue of the battery life is rumored to already kind of be trash on it. So there's a lot of that's a really tough pill to swallow, right? That is a lot of money. Tucker, you hush, my friend. Sorry, that's the boy wiener dog. I could get past all that though. Like I could fine, not a huge deal, right? Especially when you take into account that that's after tariffs, from what I understand. So that's after the tariffs and everything that are supposedly going through that haven't actually been implemented yet, which may never actually get implemented. So we're taking hypotheticals of you just need to be okay with getting flogged by Nintendo and their big old flogging stick, right? Cool. Then you take into account that now they want $80 for a digital game and $90 for a physical game. I agree, like, your digital game should be like $10 cheaper. I'm fine with digital. I like digital. I can't lose the cartridge. I don't have to worry about it disappearing or lending it to someone and never getting it back. There's a lot of upsides to digital. However, you also lose the capabilities of ever being able to trade said game. There are also downsides to digital, right? So $90 for a game, and that's not even necessarily where the cap's going to be. I mean, you're now opening a whole new can of worms. I was upset when Sony raised the price to $70 for games. Like, I was like, ouch, that's a little messed up. Games have been around that $50, $60. And I'm not saying some games haven't gone past that marker, right? There's been plenty of games throughout history that have. But when you add in the fact that, A, if I'm buying it digitally, and you wanted to say tariffs were included, am I actually being tariffed on a digital product that isn't manufactured somewhere else? But then even when we go to the $90 price tag for a physical game, to only find out that I might not actually have the physical game on the cartridge, and now you're kind of opening that can of worms for all games to start charging more, it just starts to become very anti-consumer. And then you put a C button on there, right? That C button's supposed to give you access to voice chat and all this other stuff, which is a paid feature, which I'm fine with. I get it. PlayStation, all that. I feel like this is arguably the most anti-consumer console ever, and it's coming from a company like Nintendo, who I'm not going to say is the most consumer-friendly of all companies, because, you know, they tend to like to go after people legally all the time for fan art or making some kind of like Pal World. I'm pretty sure they went after Pal World for Pokemon infringement. And I get that. And I can even understand the going after the whole emulators. Like, I get those. I get those arguments. I can understand why Nintendo would do that, because they make a lot of money off of reselling you their back catalog. Whereas, like, with Xbox, like, a lot of the games that are classic Xbox aren't always available. I mean, Xbox has done a pretty good job at it, but PlayStation, there is a lot of original PlayStation content you just can't get anymore. Doesn't exist. Not out there. But I almost feel like Nintendo is so tone deaf to look at the fact that we are headed in, like, our economy is in one of the worst spots it's been in. And they're like, let's raise a whole bunch of prices. So here's where your issue comes. Doug Bowser made the comment of, we have a product for people who don't want to pay that, and it's called Switch One. That's cool. That's great. But your console fails if people don't buy it. So if people view it as anti-consumer and people view it as you are just taking advantage of them in a situation, people don't buy it. A great example of this would be the Wii U and its marketing snafu. Most people didn't realize the Wii U was a separate console. They thought it was like an upgrade to their Wii. Kid you not, worked at GameStop when it came out. Most people just were oblivious to it. Didn't sell well. The Wii U did not sell well even a little bit. Coming off of arguably the hottest console of all time, the Wii, no matter how you feel about the Wii, that thing sold like hotcakes, okay? That thing was one of the most popular consoles ever made. But somehow Nintendo didn't ride that lightning, and the Wii U was a failure. I feel like that's what we're about to see with the Switch 2 again. And the Wii U did so bad, Iwata, the president of Nintendo at the time, took a pay cut, and like a self-inflicted pay cut. He made the choice to do so because of how badly Nintendo was doing during the time period of the Wii U. So it just comes off as very tone-deaf to watch Bowser, who replaced Reggie Fils-Aimé, say something that extremely anti-consumer while watching Nintendo do something that anti-consumer. I don't foresee it playing out well, and I don't know if I'm going to get a Switch 2. Like, I'm very in the air, because, like, it just feels so scummy the way it all happened, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I've never been taken advantage of by a company before. I mean, I own how many copies of Skyrim at this point? Hell, I own a lot of copies of Super Mario 64 as well. Several other games are in that category as well. But guys, let me know what you think down below. How do you feel about the Switch 2? I can kind of assume, because of how the internet is reacting to the overall presentation of the Switch 2. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to drop a thumbs up. Links are, as always, in the description box down below. And I will see you guys later with new content at some point. Who knows? Might not be that long between videos this time. Thanks, guys.